Good morning, everyone, or as Reverend Mike would say, God morning to you. It's so good to have you here today. Here at Ahiah, we're at Ahiah Center for Spiritual Living in downtown Pasadena, and this is our Sunday celebration. So we are only virtual here. We are live streaming from our beautiful sanctuary, and we miss everybody being here and looking so forward to the day when everybody's vaccinated and we can come back together without any worries and everything, and we can come into community and be together as this Ahiah community. Of course, we'll keep the live streaming option because we have a number of regular visitors from across the lands as far as India that we would love to keep seeing our live stream, and so we'll still be doing that after we go live again and have an audience. But it's so good to be here. And I just want to introduce you to a few of our people that are going to be here today. First of all, for our music, we have Tina Meeks singing. She's here on every first Sunday of the month, and we love that. And then for our band, we've got Chris Glick as our music director on the piano, Leon Johnson as our bass, and Brian Menifee on our drums. So we're having a great band today. And we have lots of people who support us throughout the week in all the different ways that we do that. But for today, for Sunday, we have Gloria on sound. Let's give her a hand. Harris is in the back there doing all of our live streaming. And then we have, for moderators on Facebook, we have Louise Mucha. And we have, let's give them a hand. Louise Mucha, we have Mindy Morrison on Zoom, and we have Peter Bedard on YouTube. So however you decide to come in to our live stream, whether it's Facebook, YouTube, or Zoom, you have someone that's there that'll greet you, that would love to chat with you. All you have to do is chat a little bit in the chat room part of those applications, and we would love to get to know you, or we would love to just have you, say hi to all the people that you know if you're a longtime congregant. If you are new to Ahiah, if you found us on the internet or however been invited here, you can always get our newsletter, and you can do that by going to our website at Ahiah, ahiah.com/subscribe. If you fill in the form there, we'll get you a newsletter on Friday. So I think let's go ahead and get this party rolling. So we're going to start off with our meditation video, followed by a prayer. And so why don't we just take a deep breath in and let it out. And with that, we'll go to our meditation video.
I am made of the light that hung the stars in the night, a perfect thought since time began. I am one with the love that's holding all of us. Its power in my hands. I am called by the voice that hung the stars in the night. A perfect thought since time began. I am. With a love that's holding all of us. It's power in my hands. I am called by the voice that speaks of truth and joy. Forever blessed where I stand. I
My volume on. We have a technical difficulty. We lost out on Peter's prayer. So we'll try and figure out how to get that. Actually, you know what? I'll just go ahead and do the prayer. That's an idea. I'm a minister. I think I could pray. And Peter, I'm so sorry. You had a great story in that also. So anyway, why don't we go to prayer, and maybe Harris, no, we'll just do it this way. It gets too complicated. So, what I'm knowing is that there is a wholeness that is life, that is truth. There's an order that is back of all things. There is one life, one power, one presence, which is fully, completely, expansively present right here, right now. And so in that one life, one power, there is no mistakes. There are nothing to worry about. It is this life moving easily and effortlessly forward, no matter what. And so I know today, right here, right now, we are truly, truly blessed that this life that is God is moving through us and as us with ease and with grace. And I know that that wholeness and order, it's not just the service, but it is all of our affairs. There is a wholeness in our body temple. There is a wholeness in our life. There is a wholeness that brings this country together. There is a wholeness that expresses itself cleanly and divinely as each and every one of us. And so that blessing shows up here today, and it shows up in our lives, in all of our living, in all of our relationships. I know absolutely that we are blessed in this life. I know that in coming together today, in this intention to be this life of wholeness, this life of prosperity, this life of love, this life of peace, that all of the universe comes together and just says yes. Yes, yes, yes. And so we are supported in ways that we would never, ever know, never understand, never be able to comprehend. And yet it is true. It is true that the Lord, God, Spirit, whatever you want to call it, moves in mysterious ways. And so I see it in my life just by knowing it's there. And for that, I know that we are a blessing to ourselves, we're a blessing to the world. And I just say life and God are good and very good. And together we say, and so it is. Amen and amen. Oh, so now it is my pleasure to have our key singer for today, actually our only singer for today. But she is somebody you know very well, that you have had many, many opportunities to hear and to love. So let's have Tina Meeks. Come on up.
Hello, everybody. It's great to be at Ahiah this morning. I'm imagining your beautiful faces right here in the congregation with me, but I know you're out there. Happy New Year. This first song that I'm going to sing is My Wish for You. Come on, Chris, take it away. May God bless and keep you always. May your wishes all come true. May you always do for others and have others do for you. May you build a ladder to the stars and climb on every rung. May you stay forever young. May you stay forever young. May you grow up to be righteous. May you grow up to be true. May you always know the truth and see the light surrounding you. May you always be courageous, stand upright and be strong. May you stay forever young. May you stay forever young. Chris! My brother over here, Brian and Chris. Well, your hands always gotta be busy and your feet always be swift. May you have a strong foundation when the winds of changes shift. May your heart always be joyful. May your always be sung. May your song always be sung. And may you stay forever young. May you stay forever young. Y'all sing it with me at home. Come on. May you stay forever young. Come on, Reverend Scott, together. May you stay forever young. God bless you. Happy New Year.
Oh, may we stay forever young. Absolutely. Thank you, Tina. It's such a blessing to have you here each of the first Sundays of the month. I love your music. I love your voice. I love your heart. I love all that you bring to us here. Let's give her another round of applause. Oh, so I hope everyone had a happy New Year, and that, you know, given the pandemic, it was what it was. But what I'm feeling now, the energy of 2021, I'm just feeling like we've turned a page in the book of life. Maybe we've gone to a new chapter. Oh, heck, maybe we've thrown the whole damn book away and started with a new one. That's the way I'm feeling. Just get rid of that one, get a new book, start on the first page, rewrite everything. I'm good with that. But, what I know is that this year is going to be filled with love and peace and joy. That is what I'm holding in my heart as the true possibility, because it's the truth of God. And so as we know that to be the truth for ourselves, it gets reflected back in our lives. So not only are we in a new year, but we're in a new month. We went from December to January, and so that means we're in a new theme for the month. And our new theme is, for the month of January, is Timeless Wisdom, Evolutionary Vision. And the timeless wisdom part is the timeless thing, right? Timeless wisdom. It's not the wisdom of how you bake a cake. It's the wisdom that is never changing. And the only thing I know of that doesn't change is spirit, because spirit is always 100% love, 100% peace, joy, love, harmony, balance, order, all those things, prosperity, that we ascribe to it. It's always that and never changing. And so the timeless wisdom that we know is really the things that we know about God to be true and what we know to be true of ourselves, because we are those individualized expressions of the divine. And so we're talking about our soul at that point. And so then there's evolutionary vision. Evolutionary vision, those are the things that are changing. We're evolving beings, and what we're saying by having a vision is we're seeing what we want to become. What are we changing into? No matter where we're started, this is the end point. This is the place that we want to become. And so this month, we're going to talk about that, but we're also going to be talking about it from the place of going back to basics, because in January, we always, it's the tradition at every center of spiritual living that I know of anyway, that we talk about the basics in January. Now, I know you might be thinking what I was thinking a number of years ago. When I first came into the movement, I'd gone to that church for a couple of years, and it got to be another January, and it was like, oh, I've heard about the basics before. Why do we have to go back to the basics? And so my minister at the time was Reverend Kristen Hawkins, and I asked her, why do we go back to the basics? And she said, well, when I had been going to a Science of Mind church, a Center for Spiritual Living, for a little while, and that would have been, for her, that would have been Huntington Beach Church of Religious Science, and in those days it was Reverend Dr. Peggy Bassett. She was one of the big names in the movement at the time. And she said that she asked that question to Peggy Bassett, and Peggy Bassett said, oh, my dear, it's all about the basics. And that's true. And now that I'm a minister and I do these talks, what I recognize is that I talk about the same things all the time. It's always the basics. And, but it's about these different topics. So I take the basics, which are simple, but not easy, as in that it's simple to see that that's a truth. It's not so easy necessarily to actually have it show up in our lives, to apply it consistently in our lives. So that's what we talk about all the time. But in January, I focus in a little bit more on what that truth is, so that when we know, when I'm talking about the law of creation, later on in the year, we kind of know what that means. So we're going to be going over some of this month. But some of the things that I normally will talk about is, heaven lies within. That just means that we are individualized expressions of the divine. Or I talk about the creative process, and I say there is a power greater than I in the universe, and I can use it. Or I say that there's a still small voice whispering in our ear constantly. And this is the love that Spirit is, telling us, answering all those questions that we have. And I say, there is a power greater than I in the universe, and it can use me, which just means that I can allow Spirit, I can listen to that still small voice, and then put that back into the creative process. And I talk about these things all the time. I talk about it in terms of relationships and money and health and work life and every aspect of our lives. It's the truth in all of those. And we talk about how that shows up a little bit differently in all those things. So now would normally be the time when I'd ask Reverend Mike to come up and do a power talk. But as you know, Reverend Mike has been at home. He caught COVID earlier, around the middle of December, second week of December. And so he's been at home recuperating and resting. And, I give him a call. Mostly I text so that I know that he can just respond whenever he's feeling up to it. And Friday I sent him a text and I said, people are wishing you well and they're wondering how you're feeling. What would you like me to tell them? And so I'm going to tell you what he gave me a text, and he said this: I am back on the planet and healed to better than before. I am surrounded by prayer throughout the entire experience. My wife had no symptoms at all, so I send my gratitude to everyone. We have definitely been holding Reverend Mike in love and in light, praying for him. And it's just so good news to hear that he's doing really well. Maybe even he'll be coming back next week. We'll see. I just want to let him recuperate as much as he thinks he needs. So today we have a talk title, which is Applying the Spiritual Lessons Learned. That's a bit of a mouthful, right? Applying the spiritual lessons learned. But we've gone through a bit of a tumultuous 2020. You might agree with that. No matter how you look at it, it's been a very weird year. It was a very weird year. It's gone, kaput. We're into 2021. But as I look back on 2020, we've had the pandemic. I heard this morning that we crossed the 350,000 Americans dead. So that's been, heart-wrenching and life-changing for us. We all watched the murder of George Floyd, and, that has definitely been a change in direction for me personally, for Ahiah, for so many people in this country, as we recognize that racism is more pervasive than we had ever thought. No matter where and how you looked at it, and from what angle you looked at it, I think we recognize that it's more than we had thought it was. And then we had the political divide show up with the presidential election and beyond. And, what that kind of raised is the fact that there's, people have gotten to a point where they can't agree. And they've gone from, we're all Americans, kind of, to people who agree with me are over here, and people who don't agree with me are out there somewhere. They're the other people. And so we have a lot of things to think about. We've definitely had lots of lessons in 2020. And so in 2021, we need to figure out exactly how to move forward. Having learned those particular lessons, how do we invoke the spiritual truth of that and move forward, right? Move forward into a new way of being. Well, I want to start to answer that question today a little bit. And I want to do it by telling you a little bit about a very special and very powerful talk that Ernest Holmes gave way back in 1959. It was his last public talk that he ever gave, and it was given at Asilomar, which is a place I love. I've been to it 10, 11 times. We used to have the summer retreat there every year. In fact, there wasn't one retreat, there was 2 retreats, because for many years, since the 1950s, we were 2 organizations. We had started out as one, we split into 2. So we were UCRS and RSI for about 50 years, and then we came back together as Centers for Spiritual Living. And that's a great thing. I love us coming back and the wholeness and the order. But for many years, there were 2 one-week summer retreats. How many of you guys have been to Asilomar? Yeah? 3, 4 of us? So, it's something that a lot of people went and did, and it was a wonderful experience. And I started going before we had kids. Gabriel and I went a couple of times, and then we adopted Cody and Dylan. We decided we'd make sure to take them for the summer aspect of a teen program. And then when we adopted John, he was 6 years old, made sure he was going. So I have many, many fond memories of chasing John around the Asilomar, when he was little. So Asilomar is a place in my heart that's very, very special to me. And I also remember there in Asilomar is Merrill Hall, which is this big hall that you can have huge meetings in. We were 600-700 people at these conferences, and we could all fit in this huge hall with a balcony up top. And I remember about the second year of being a practitioner, I remember being able to be there and to give the opening sessions prayer. And it meant a lot to me. And there was a chapel there too, which wasn't quite as big. It sat maybe 100. It's maybe a little bit bigger than our sanctuary here at Ahiah. And that is the place that Ernest Holmes gave his last talk. And we call that last talk Sermon by the Sea because when you sit in the chapel, back behind the dais are these huge windows. And if they have the windows open, you just see the sea. You see the ocean back behind, and it's beautiful. And so he gave this talk, and, I have a suspicion that he maybe knew that was going to be his last talk, because it's a different talk than any of his previous ones. And I think he was really trying to put into this talk the spiritual lessons that he had learned over those many years that he had been studying, many, many years, decades, that he had been studying this and creating this philosophy and adding to it and finding new nuances. And one of the things, he progressed in his time. Towards the end of his career, he said if he had had it to do over again, he would have talked more about the love that God is rather than the law. And the love that God is that still small voice speaking to us. That's the presence that we feel. And it's so important to have that presence in our life. But what I want to do is I want to give you a couple of quotes. They're pretty long quotes, so I'm going to keep them up on the screen while we talk about them. But I'm going to show you these quotes, and let's talk a little bit about what they mean and how we can apply them in today's world. Now, the first quote is, it really is a spiritual lesson, and so it goes like this. Only that which reveals me to myself can be a message to me. Only that which gives me back to myself can save me. Only that which leads me to the God within myself can reveal God. These are powerful statements. And, as I look back at 2020, what I recognize is that I lived through that experience, but I definitely had a lot of questions then, and I don't know that they were all answered in 2020. And so I think, though, that I can take this statement here and I can answer those a little bit. So the first thing that we learned about in 2020 was the pandemic. And remember back in February and March, we were all like, what do I do now? What am I supposed to do given this? Just a second, my watch is ringing. And what that means is that, I wasn't sure what to do. Was I supposed to, we came in here the first weeks of church when we were hearing about the coronavirus. We weren't sure. Were we just supposed to bump elbows? Were we supposed to stay away? Should we have, 100 people in here? Should we have 10 people? Should we have nobody? We were just figuring it out. It was week by week, a new idea, a new thought. And we're looking for answers, but what that first part of that quote is saying is that the truth is already there inside of me. I think the reason I was still looking for answers so much is I was looking for the answers outside rather than going within. Because that first part of the quote says, only that which reveals me to myself can be a message to me. If I'm looking for the message outside, I don't find it. I find the message inside. I need to listen to my inner wisdom more. And then racial equality came with George Floyd, and we started thinking about racism in America, and I know for myself what I started to ask myself is, who am I? Who should I be? Who should I become? And in some points, especially back maybe in June, there was this feeling like I needed to be saved. And, I needed to be saved from my doubts. I needed to be saved from my wrong thinking. I needed to be saved from not knowing who I really am. And so this second part of the quote, I think it's the answer to that, because I need the real me. The real me. What's the real me? It's my soul. My soul is the real me. This me that's here is temporary. It's my soul that's eternal. I need the real me to know what to do. I need the real me to show up in the way that it needs to show up. And I need the real me, which never needs to be saved, to maybe save me, right? My soul can save me. And that's because my soul knows that it is the one, that it is one and the same part and parcel with divine. There is no separation at the soul level. There is no duality at the soul level. There's this individualized expression of the divine that my soul is, and it knows the love that God is. It knows how to show up that way. And so the second part of this quote is, only that which gives me back to myself can save me. And so I let my soul save me. And then the political divide came. And the question I had there is, how can we be so separate? How can I be so separate from each and every person who doesn't agree with me? Why does that make us separate? And, I hear, the thing is that I hear some of these other political views that are not my political views, and I sit here and sometimes I'm like scratching my head and I'm going, what planet are you from? That's just my personal experience. It's like, I'm living on this planet and you're living on that planet because we're not agreeing. I mean, what we're saying is so different. How can we say so different a thing given the same facts? Because we know that the facts are the same. If you look at this podium, if you were to take a picture of this podium and I take a picture of the podium, it's the same podium. We don't have two podiums. You don't see a blue one and I see a yellow one. It's the same podium. But what I recognize is that we are all divine creators. That power that I was talking about, the law, the power of creation that we, each and every one of us use, whether we recognize it or not, what that means is that I believe something. And then it goes into the mind, it gets created back, all of us together, it goes into the mind, it gets created back as one reality. But my experience of that reality is mine and only mine. And so even though we have one podium, one color of podium, we're going to experience it differently. And so that third part to the quote is only that which leads me to God within myself can reveal God. And so if I'm trying to reveal God within out here, I need to see the reality. I need to believe in the reality which is God, so it's reflected back to me. And as each and every one of us align ourselves with God, there will be no separation. There will be no divide. Because the truth is we'll experience more the same. It'll be more similar to us than it will be different. Now, the divine truth of us sometimes is a little hard to swallow. You know, sometimes what I know is that, you know, that those differences that divide us can seem enormous. The part of the video that you didn't see was promoting you to Reverend Peter, was Peter Bedard, who is our practitioner of today. And he's holding our consciousness today for us. Thank you, Peter. But he told a story in the video that I've seen that you didn't get to see, where he was, he and his husband had hate speech thrown at them pretty intensely. And what I know about hate speech is that when, you know, hate speech is thrown at me, it tends to be that I hate back, right? It's a human reaction. Don't we do that often? I mean, the truth is we are brought up to hate things, you know. I hate it. I hate spinach, right? I hate, you know, canned spinach. Just hate it, right? I hate it when my shoes come untied. You know, I'm walking down, the shoes untied. I hate that, right? It's so easy for us to hate things. But, you know, when I hate that life, when something is shown to me that I hate, what it does is it puts a burden on me, right? And I don't want that burden. So the second quote that we have is showing up on your screen right about now, is a really important quote. I think it's one of Ernest Holmes' most meaningful quotes. And he says this, he says, "Find me one person that is for something and against nothing, who is redeemed enough not to condemn others out of the burden of his soul, and I will find another Savior, another Jesus, and an exalted being." This is a really important quote because what he's telling us is, how do we become Jesus? Right? We here at Centers for Spiritual Living look at Jesus Christ as the great example. He said, in many places, he said, "This and more you shall do." He didn't even see himself, in my opinion, as the ultimate. He thought people would know more even than him. And maybe there are people who have. Who are we to know, right? Not every, you know, enlightened being shows up on the TV. And so, you know, we have the example of Jesus, but how exactly are we supposed to become more like Jesus? Well, I think Ernest Holmes points the way. He says, be for something and against nothing. But how can I live from that place? I can't. I talked about hate. It's so easy to hate. What does hate mean? It means that I am against, I have condemned whatever it is that I don't like. I've condemned it. I hate it. And when I do that, who is redeemed enough not to condemn others out of the burden of his soul, what this means is that hate is a burden on my soul. In Peter's story, when he talks about somebody coming up to throw hate speech at him, the burden on his soul is not the hate speech thrown at him. The burden on his soul is if he chooses to hate back. And so how do we sit in that? What choice do we make? I think the only choice that we can make is to unburden our soul. And the only way to unburden our soul is to quit believing whatever it was that condemned us to hate back. Part of that is we don't believe in love. Part of it is we don't believe in the oneness that God is. Part of it is we're just not seeing the wholeness and the harmony that is intrinsic in the universe. I'm not saying that hate speech is okay. I definitely don't. Right? I've been a victim of hate speech too, and it's not good. And I can tell you, when I remember, shortly after Gabriel and I got together, and by the way, on the 13th of January, it'll be 25 years since Gabriel and I met. And so it was about 25 years ago, and I remember getting flamed with hate speech, walking down in West Hollywood of all places. But I was 25 years ago, I wasn't the person I am today. And so I took that in and I held it for quite a while. And it wasn't the burden of the hate speech thrown at me, it was the burden of my hate. That's the burden of my soul. And so how do I undo it? Well, I have to stand in love. I have to stand in this place of checking my reaction and deciding that I will not hate right now. That person, however badly it's showing up right now, that person is actually doing the best that he can in this moment. And so I can go from hate to, maybe I start down in the ladder at pity for the other person, and eventually I climb the ladder a little bit more. Instead of pitying them, I understand them. Instead of understanding them, I love them. And that unburdens my soul. So, an example of Jesus doing the exact same thing was Jesus went out and he loved the lepers. That thing out there, whatever it is, whether it's outside of us or when we look inside and we hate something within us, we have to love that leprosy. We can't have what we hate and we fear rule our lives. We have to do something different. In Centers for Spiritual Living, we have a statement, part of the Global Heart Vision. And I think this is part of the answer. It says, we envision humanity awakening to its spiritual magnificence and discovering the creative power of thought. A world where each and every person discovers her own personal power and ability to create an individual life that works within a world that works for everyone. Creates their own individual life with a life that works within a world that works for everyone. So as I create my life, I do it in such a way that it fits, right? I'm not the odd man out here. I'm one of the many that is here. We're all coexisting. We're all living together. We're all living as the one. That is what will cure the hate that shows up in the world right now. So that's for something. I'm for that. That's a beautiful belief. But I have to be against nothing also. And so I can't be against that person who's throwing hate speech around. And I have to find a way of handling that. My way personally is a statement that I've been using for many, many years. It is what it is, right? Instead of me sitting in judgment in that moment, I can just say, it is what it is. I have said it so many times, my sons now say it before I say it. They know it's coming. But it is true. It is what it is. What am I going to do? I need to quit taking responsibility for handling everything that's happening around here. It's not my responsibility. It's God's responsibility. Let Spirit handle it. I'm releasing my judgments. I'm releasing everything that I'm holding against anything. I'm against nothing if it is what it is. So I want to leave you with an affirmation. And that affirmation is showing on your screen right now. It's short and it's sweet, so we're going to read it quickly. Steeped in the wisdom of the ages, I humbly resolve to evolve. Let's say that one more time. Steeped in the wisdom of the ages, I humbly resolve to evolve. And so it is. So as you go out into your week, what I'd like you to remember is you're confronted with challenges of the world, but the truth that you need to have in your life, the guidance that you need, it lies within. Find it from within. Don't look so much without. And then be for something and against nothing. So as we're being for something, we're creating a world that works for everyone. And as we're being against nothing, it just is what it is. Just let go of those judgments. And if you are unsure, as always, just let Spirit guide you. Thank you, and namaste. Thank you, Chris. So good to have music under the prayer. So we're just going to turn within and know the truth. As I recognize that life, that power, that presence that God is, that Spirit is, whatever we want to call it, it just is. And I recognize and know the truth of that life as the love and the peace and the joy, the harmony, the wholeness that Spirit is always, creating into this world out of itself. And as that's the truth of God, I know it to be the truth of me, and I know it to be the truth of you. It's the truth of all consciousness, actually. Since there is only one life, that life is living itself fully and completely with grace as us, right here, right now. There is no divisions. There are no separations. There's nothing that keeps us from being this one life. All of us, this one life. Everything, this one life. It's a life of love, a life of peace. It's our life is peace. It's our life is love. And so it's from that place of knowingness that I speak my word as the truth of myself, as the truth of you, as the truth of the whole wide world. That here, as we embark on this year of 2021, that we just let 2020 go. It's gone. It's done. It's time to move on. It's time to know the wholeness that God is more fully in our lives, to know the prosperity that God is as the truth of our lives, that God is that one source that is filling us up to full and overflowing of everything that we need, of everything that we desire, of all the needs of our life. They're just met by the one source that God is, not our job, not the government, not anything that is in the little r reality of our lives. It's the big R reality that is moving through us and as us, having its way with us to create all that we need, all that we desire. And for knowing that, I just give thanks. And I release this prayer to the law, knowing that it's already fulfilled in the mind that God is. And I say, life and God are good and very good. And together we say, and so it is. Amen and amen. So now is the time for our conscious contributions. And so I know that many of you have already given your contributions. And I want to say thank you for that. Those contributions, those conscious contributions, are what support this center in moving forward with joy, confidence, and ease in all that we do, not just Sunday service, but all of the things that we do throughout the week also, the classes, the healing service, the book study, all the other things. And so I want to say thank you for that. And I also want to just give you an update on our pledge program. We've been renewing our pledges from 2020 into 2021. And we're taking new pledges too. I got one of those the other day. And so we have, the last I looked, we were at 39 pledgers and $98,000, I think, pledged for 2021, which is great. So we're doing pretty well. We could use a little bit more to balance the budget, but some of that will just come as people give outside of the pledge program. But it is so nice to have the pledges there so that we can plan, so that we kind of understand where we are, and then we can grow beyond that, but we have kind of this number that we know that is going to come in. So if you have not pledged yet, I would really love for you to pledge. And you can do that by going to ahiah.com/pledge, or by sending me an email or calling me at our phone number, however you want to do it. I'll take it any way you want to give it. You can even mail me in a note if you'd like. So we can do all of those things. So anyway, that's good news. It's a great way for us to start in 2021. And I think, I wanted to, we'll say more about this, but I have a couple of numbers in my head I wanted to give you too. They're approximate. A little over 25% we grew in revenues from 2018 into 2019. From 2019 into 2020, even with the COVID and everything, we grew by 20%, over 20, I think it was 22%. So I want to say thank you to everyone who's supporting Ahiah, all the people who have pledged. It is wonderful that we're going to be able to move forward here, keeping this place open. That's our goal, is get to a place where we're sustainable and we can keep this place open for the next centuries, right? So, however you have, however you've donated, you've got that virtual donation, just hold it to your heart and go along. You can read along with me. This gift I give is God in action. I send it forth with joy, confidence, and ease. I am blessed by the law of giving and receiving as I now share my gift with life. Pressed down, shaken together, and running over. And so it is. Amen and amen. And so now we are blessed by Tina Meeks. Come on up, Tina. And she's going to sing us another song. Take it away, Tina.
Hi, everybody, again. as always, I really got a lot out of that talk from Reverend Scott, and I hope that you are taking that in and keeping it in your heart during the week. So the songs that I sing, I try to make sure that it's something that can inspire you as well. This one, I know you're going to love. I love it, but it also relates to the talk today. Respect yourself. Let's go within. All right. If you disrespect everybody that you run into, how in the world do you think anybody's gonna respect you? If you don't give a heck about the man with the Bible in his hand, just get out the way and let the gentleman do his thing. Were you the kind of gentleman that wants everything your way? Well, take the sheet off your face, boy. It's a brand new day. 2021. Yeah. Respect yourself. Respect yourself. Respect yourself. Respect yourself. If you're walking around self yourself, ain't nobody gonna give a good cahoot. No. Respect yourself. Hey, respect yourself. Well, respect yourself. If you walking around thinking that the world owes you something that you hear, you're going out the world backwards like you did when you first come here. Yeah, you keep talking about the president won't help the air pollution. No, just pull up your face, and when you cough, it'll help the solution. Hey, respect yourself. Respect yourself. Respect yourself. Respect yourself. Well, 'cause if you don't respect yourself, ain't nobody gonna give a good cahoot. No. Respect yourself. Everybody, you gotta respect yourself. Respect yourself. Whoa, respect yourself. Okay, I want Chris to take it away. Hey. Come on at home, let's clap. Come on, respect yourself. Hey, yeah. Respect yourself. Respect yourself. You gotta respect yourself. Respect yourself. Hey, respect yourself. Hey, you gotta respect yourself. Reverend Scott, you know you gotta respect yourself. Parents back there in the back, you gotta respect yourself. Oh, hey. Respect yourself. Don't respect yourself, ain't nobody gonna give a good cahoot. Na. Respect yourself, everybody. God bless you. Happy New Year.
Oh, yes. Respect yourself in 2021. It'll be a nice change for some folks, I think. Oh, we were talking earlier about how this was written in 1973, and it's so appropriate for today, don't you think? So we're just having a good time here. Anyway, I want to go ahead and give you a few announcements, and then we'll do the benediction, and we'll meet in the Zoom room. So the announcements are, first and foremost, is we've got some classes and workshops starting up. I want to tell you about Beyond Limits, which is a brand new class. It's never been given here at Ahiah, and it's a entry-level class also. So it's 8 weeks instead of 10 weeks, which is foundations. So it's a little bit shorter class. We learn many of the same principles. It's back to the basics. It's learning how to take these spiritual ideas and create spiritual tools into your life. We're going to start. It's going to be January 25th, which is Monday. It'll be for 8 Mondays all the way out to March 15th. It's from 6:30 to 9:30 on each of those nights. And it's a $15 love offering, and then there's a couple of books to buy. So we would love, it's taught by me. I would love to see you in the class. And so, it's some new material, and it'll be good to have you there. And then I also want to tell you about creating a beloved community. We had a wonderful, wonderful workshop on December 7th. And what that showed us is that we have more work to do. So we're doing a follow-up session. We'll continue doing these. We haven't decided exactly how often yet, but our next one is on Martin Luther King Jr. Day. It is January 18th at 7 p.m. on Zoom. And you can go to our website, by the way, which is ahiah.com/classes to see more information about all of these. But we're going to be working the Creating a Beloved Community is basically working through all these issues that racism brings up. And one of the things we're going to be focusing on is how do we effectively communicate with each other? What is the process for doing that? Because I think it's been made more difficult than it needs to be. We're going to learn how to love each other as we're talking to each other. And I think that'll be a great thing. And now one more thing real fast. I don't know if you can see it from all the way back there, but this is the Ahiah calendar. And so we made new ones. Gabriel collected pictures. It's got sayings for the month. It's got the theme for the month on it. And of course, it's got a calendar for you to put all of your things in there. And so you can either call us at the office. We're here on Tuesday and Wednesdays from 10 to about 3. You can call and pick one up, or you can let us know how we can get that to you. We'd be happy to mail it to you too. And we also have a few people, Barbara Bruner and Linda White and somebody else. I'm not sure if it's Nancy Williams or not. So I'm not sure about Nancy, but a few people have picked them up to distribute them. So you can always contact them and see if they have a spare calendar for you too. And so now I want to just let Reverend Karen tell you a little bit about her class. Go ahead and roll it, Harris.
Good morning, Ahiah family. This is Reverend Karen Frost with a special invitation to join me and my mom for a book study of The Miseducation of the Negro by Carter G. Woodson. Written in the 1930s, it's shocking how much this book is still relevant today. In the book study, we will identify how many of the quote-unquote truths we were taught in our school systems were designed to create a system of white supremacy that is still in place. Together, we will support each other as we work to release and heal these beliefs. In the science of mind, we understand that our beliefs create our reality. This class is an important and valuable way to identify and heal our unconscious beliefs around race in America. This is your only opportunity to take this deep dive with my mother and I. We are not offering this class again, and no recordings are available. We are doing this work together, live on Zoom, every Sunday at 1 p.m. Pacific for 9 weeks, starting on January 17th. Please register ASAP.
All right, so I know you're going to enjoy Reverend Karen's class too. It's The Miseducation of the Negro. And so let's just go ahead and do our benediction, which is showing up on the screen right now. You can read along with me. Something wonderful is happening through me right now. It is this thing called life. Life is in my mind. Life is in my body. Life is in all of my affairs. I accept it. I am it. And I share it. Just the way it appears and just the way it appears not. Thank you, life. Amen and amen. And so this is the end of our Sunday celebration. I would love to see you in our Zoom room. But you got to give me a few minutes to unhook, and then I'll be right there in about 5 minutes. I'll see you then. You can find how to get there by going to ahiah.com/virtual, virtual, and then hit the Go to Zoom button. That'll get you into our family Zoom room, and I'll see you there. Thank you, and namaste.